Welcome back to the Unconventional Coach Podcast. I have a very special episode today with my favourite guest. Like, I'll throw that out there. You're my favourite guest. I think
Love
you're just
that.
my favourite person in the fitness industry, to be honest, my dear.
Ah,
So I have Georgie here. So I'll hand over Georgie. I know you don't need to introduce yourself, but please feel free to.
okay. So my name is Georgie Cooper. I am 24 years old, and I run Coach by Georgie, which is a female online client coaching client program with specialised in kind of lifestyle changing, similar to you really. So just helping women change their lifestyle, and I work exclusively with a small group of women, and then run odd challenges. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Like to go to the gym myself. Recently taken up bodybuilding as a sport, and yeah, that's it really.
You're like, that's my life.
That's my life. Just
Well,
training and coaching.
absolutely. Well, the subject we're going to talk about today is gym confidence. So confidence in the gym. And funny enough, I had like the inspiration for this podcast, and then I think I was on Instagram that day, and I just watched like one of your Instagram stories of you in the gym, and obviously you're like recording yourself in the gym, and I think some people walked past and they kind of like took a second guess, and like even like I need to work on my gym confidence because I don't really film myself in the gym anymore because I feel a bit nervous too. And obviously gym confidence is something that is so important, obviously for
Oh,
our
it's so
clients,
important.
for people, like, and I honestly think confidence in the gym correlates to confidence in other areas of your life. So that's obviously what we're going to be talking about, but I want to know sort of where you were when you first started the gym, to kind of put it into perspective for people. So if you follow Georgie, you'll know she looks amazing. She trains herself. She's no shame. She's doing her vlogs in Tesco's. Do you know what I mean? So where were you when you first started like your training?
So yeah, obviously, like if you look over my social media now, you'd probably think like, oh, this girl has a shitload of confidence. And like at this point, I don't care. Like I'll film myself anywhere, like I'll set up my tripod anywhere in the gym. Like filming and exercise in the gym for me, like I wouldn't even really second guess it. Recently I've moved to London, and I'm actually training in like a full-blown bodybuilder gym called Kings. And obviously being in London as well, like you can imagine the kind of people that are training in that gym. There's not very many females. There's the odd female, don't get me wrong, but it's mainly kind of bodybuilding males, Londoners. But for me, I just couldn't care. Like it doesn't even cross my mind. But I think it's really important to kind of say, like, I was never like that before. Like going back to when I was kind of at school and college, like before I even started going to the gym, I was like the most insecure person ever. Like I wouldn't do anything that would bring attention to myself. And for me, like when I first started at the gym, I feel like I was the same as every other girl. Like I started going to the gym because I wanted to lose weight, and I would just do treadmill. So I just basically walk or run on the treadmill. Like I was that person that would look at the back of a chocolate bar, be like, okay, that says 300 calories. So I'm going to burn 300 calories on the treadmill. Like I literally was a cardio bunny.
Mm.
And then I can't really remember like when I really switched over to the weight training side of things. But my boyfriend at the time, like he was getting into weights, and I can't remember the name of the book, but there was a book and I bought it from Amazon, and it was like get strong for like get strong as a woman or something like that. And I remember I bought this book from Amazon, and it came and it had like these dumbbell exercises. And at the time I was signed up to the gym group, I think it was. And I remember I went in and I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna have to like go and get the weights. So I went and got the weights from like the weight section, not even from like the main section of the gym, but like sometimes in the commercial gyms they have like that sort of stand with the little dumbbells, and it
Yeah.
starts at 1 kilos, it goes down to like 12. So I like brought those over to a mat, and I remember like following these exercises that I had like as a photo on my phone. Like that is how I started weight training, and it just kind of built from there.
Yeah.
And then remember thinking, oh, I can't get the bar over my head to squat anymore, so I'm gonna have to getting that squat rack. And yeah, obviously that was like a while ago now. I'm talking like 6-7 years ago. But it came from there, you know. I was very much like everybody else. That I was shit scared of being in the gym, near men, lifting weights, using machines. I think it probably took me about a year to even start using like the main weight section part of the gym.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I was exactly the same. Like I started going to the gym when I was like 16. And before it was like, yeah, you get the little dumbbells, you do the little circuits on the mat, and I went to a really small gym as well. I went to like a community centre gym. And I was exactly the same. I was really nervous. I would walk on the treadmill, do an incline walk for an hour until I'd burnt like 500 calories. It was so stupid. And
Yeah.
it's, I think we all start that way. And when I talk to like clients now, like we'll have like a consultation call or something, people will be like, oh, I'm really nervous in the gym. I just kind of do the cardio or I stay by the matted area. And I always stress to people how important resistance training just is. Like resistance training is so important for your physical and mental health. And it's there for everyone, and that's easier said than done. But I think it's important to know that even people like Georgie or like me, who obviously are online coaches, we all start that way. We all don't know what we're doing. And I always say training is a skill, and you will get better the more you do it. It's not something that you can just go in there and be good at straight away. It's something that you have to commit to and take your time to do and to
Yeah.
learn.
I think that you're so right. Like I always say this to my clients as well, like training and resistance training, it's great, you know, there's so many benefits to it, but it is a skill. Like going to the gym and learning how to use the weight is a skill. So like obviously it's going to be daunting. It would be like me saying, right, we're gonna learn how to horse ride. The first time you do it, you're going to be thinking, I don't fucking want to get on that horse, I'm shit scared. So like it's exactly the same with weight training. And I think that as long as you're realistic about the fact that it will take time to build confidence, it will take time to learn how to train, that's that's all you can do. You know, you're never going to step foot in the gym and be as confident as the people that you see on Instagram or whatever. But it's kind of one of those things that until you do it and push yourself out your comfort zone, like you'll just always be scared of that. So it's like a don't think do situation, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. And as well, like I think people think that all the people in the gym are really scary and they're really mean. And like the gym, obviously you go to King's, we've just had one like made in where I live, which is like West Sussex area. And honestly, everyone in there is so nice. Like everyone in the gym is so lovely. And I think that helps massively as well. Like when you actually get to know people in your gym. And don't get me wrong, there are some gyms where people are dickheads. Like I always find Nuffield Health gyms are just full of assholes. Like,
Do you know what? I was saying this to someone the other day. Like, obviously, people who are new to the gym, they'll automatically go, right, I need to sign up at Pure Gym or The Gym or any of these sort of well-known big brands. But actually, 9 times out of 10, that's where the dickheads are. Like,
yeah,
I know it seems daunting to go onto one of these independent small gyms, but actually, the people that train there are genuinely, they're so much nicer. And your environment is so key. You know, if you're feeling really unconfident in a commercial gym, because there is a lot of people there that don't care, you know, they're rude, they throw weights around, blah blah blah, you're probably best actually moving to a smaller gym. Even though that sounds kind of counterproductive, it's actually really not.
yeah. No, I completely
um
agree. Because cheap gyms, like the gym and stuff, because they're cheap and a lot of the time they're 24 hours, you get loads more people that go there. So if you are someone trying to build gym confidence, I definitely think going somewhere, or just even not picking peak times, for example. Like we'll go through like obviously ways to build confidence in the gym and sort of practical tools and stuff. But the amount of times I'll have a client who is like just starting to go to the gym, like maybe we've started at home, and like obviously we always approach things in a way that's going to benefit them. Do you know what I mean? If I have someone that hasn't really gone to the gym, I'm not going to just program a workout that my clients who've been going to the gym for 2 years is going to do. Do you know what I mean? You're going to ease them in. You're going to do more matted stuff. You're going to do more machines to build their confidence. But the amount of times someone will say, oh, I'm really nervous to go to the gym, and then they go on a Monday night. I'm like, well, don't go on a Monday night. Like, that's when everyone's like, hashtag Monday motivation. It's like, go on a Saturday morning when people are hungover, and it will be dead quiet as well. So that's things to look out for. But I think I wanted to ask you, is there any like real embarrassing things that have happened to you in the gym?
Oh, mate.
You're like, so many.
So, like, when I first started training, I think I was on Instagram at this point, but I actually basically managed to, I was doing a bench press. Like, this is when I used to just do like barbell flat bench press. I was doing barbell bench press, and I went to re-rack the weight, but missed the whole thing, and it smacked me in the head. I had to have stitches in my head, and I remember like the bar hit me in the face, and obviously like, it really hurt. And everyone around me was just like, oh, that looked really terrible. But you know, like when people like you know people have seen you do it, but they've tried to like pretend that they never saw it.
Yeah.
That's happened to me a few times. Honestly, I've done some crazy embarrassing stuff in the gym. I can't even think off the top of my head, but like you've just got to laugh it off. Like the thing is, like people are so worried about going in, and they're like, oh, you know, like what happens if people are staring at me and blah blah blah. But they never are. They never are. And like it doesn't, even if you like do something like that, like hit your head on something, like, you know, when you go to like put the cable up and smack the cable in your face, or people are doing that all the time. I still do that now. But like people don't want to be seeing you doing embarrassing things. So even if you do embarrass yourself in the gym, trust me, everyone around you will try and pretend that they never saw it.
Yeah, obviously I make it like plain obvious. I like look at people to like laugh with me if I've done something. I'm like, ha, like, did you see what I did? So I just
have you?
Yeah, I've done so many stupid shit. Like one of the things I did, I'll never forget this. So my partner, like, we actually met at the gym, like, and this was like before we were together, and I had like obviously this massive like crush on him, and he was walking on a treadmill, and I thought it would be like cute to like jump on behind him. So I've jumped on the treadmill behind him. Bear in mind, it's going at a snail's pace, like it's a really slow walk. And I don't know why, but I jumped on and my legs just didn't move. So I kid you not, I fell, but I fell slow-mo. So I fell, it was like knee, and then it was like hip, and then it was belly, and then it was face, and I just the whole time wasn't moving. Like, I guess I just froze, but I was just laughing. I was just laughing so hard at that. But yeah, like loads of things, like just tripping over or like hitting stuff, and like I find it funny, and I'll look at people like, but the thing is with me is I feel my most confident in the gym. Like, I love being in the gym. That's when I feel really confident. That's when I feel like myself, if that makes sense, like the best version of myself. So I'm like a bit of a social butterfly in the gym. Like, I will love having conversations with people. I've made so many friends in the gym. Like, one of my best friends now, Beth, she, funny enough, she followed me on Instagram, and I like went to the gym, that like an old gym. I just paid for like a day pass, and I went on my story later that day, and I was like, it was so good to be in a gym and I was surrounded by girls, her being one of them. I didn't know who she was, didn't know she followed me, and then she commented on my story, and she was like, oh, I was the girl opposite you on the lat pull down, like, sorry if you thought I was giving you dirty looks, because I remember seeing her and thinking, why is the bitch giving me
she looking at me?
Yeah, she just got resting bitch face. I was like, why is this bitch looking at me? And she messaged me, and she was like, oh yeah, like, I really wanted to say hello, and I was really like embarrassed, and I was like, don't be silly. And I was like, do you want to train? So we trained, and now we're like, she's one of my best friends. So I think the gym is such a positive environment because everyone there is trying to better themselves, whether it's for like whatever reason. Do you know what I mean? Whether it's because they're doing a bodybuilder competition, whether it's because they're training for anything, do you know what I mean? Or whether they just want to look sexy, do you know what I mean? Whatever it is, they're there for them. And I think people forget that, and they almost feel like people are there to just kind of judge and stare at others. And you're going to have some gym environments like that. And if you're in a gym environment like that, move gyms. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%. Like, I think you're so right. Like 90% of the time, the people in there aren't there to look at anyone else. Like, I think people would probably look at me as someone who's pretty confident in the gym now, which I am, of course. Like, I'm very much like you. That is probably where I am most confident. But I would never ever like dream of judging anyone else or staring at anyone else or anything like that. So I think a lot of the time when people are worried about other people staring at them, it is definitely just in their own head. Because even like, oh, you know, the confident girl, you know, that's filming herself in the gym and like doesn't give a shit, she's not looking at you. Like she doesn't care. Like honestly, I'm never looking at other girls or anyone else that's training. Yeah, like sometimes people will reply to my stories being like, oh my god, look at that guy's form in the background, or what the fuck is that girl doing in the background? And I think, and I'll look at it and I'll think, I literally didn't even see that happen. Like I didn't even notice that because I just don't care. Like I'm not looking at anyone else. So I think, yeah, a lot of the time these things are in people's heads, you know, and as soon as you push yourself out of that mentality of, oh, everyone's looking at me, and realize actually no one's looking at you, you'll probably find it a lot easier to kind of get in there and get it done.
Yeah, absolutely. Have you ever found people, like when you've looked back on your videos, have you ever found like people looking at you like weirdly or like doing weird things?
Yeah. People will like do weird things behind me, like who I don't even know, and I'm just like, okay,
Really? They're
that's so
like,
random.
whoa.
Yeah, like boys, like lads will do stuff like
Oh,
that
I love
behind
that
me.
though. I would do that.
Yeah, people will like, and then like I'll watch it back and realize that someone was literally like staring at me while I was doing an exercise.
Yeah.
But that's it really. I've never really had anything like too crazy. I don't care. I'll set my tripod up like right next to somebody like while they're
Yeah.
training, and you can just see their face be like, okay then.
Like, I need to get the angle,
um
guys.
I need to get the angle. So yeah, but I have had the same issue. A few people message me afterwards and say, oh, I saw you in the gym but I didn't want to come over, and I think, oh my god, no, just absolutely come over and say hi, because you know, like you said, you meet great people in the gym. You really do. Like most of my friends now are all into like fitness, you know.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. No, like the gym is such a positive place. Like if you are willing to like be open to it and just take your time, do you know what I mean? Like, so say for example you've got someone listening to this, or someone who started working with you who has never really trained, how would you sort of approach things with them if they were to say, I'm really not confident in the gym? What would be like your 3 top tips?
3 top tips for someone who's like brand new would be, make sure that your program is nothing that's too overwhelming. So when people sign up to my coaching, for example, and they've never stepped foot in the weight section before, I'm obviously not going to offload them with like sumo deadlifts and hack squat and shit like that. I'm going to keep the program super basic, but that doesn't mean that it's going to be any less effective. So you could have a full body workout with, you know, machine shoulder press, you know, dumbbell kind of lunges, or like even just a goblet squat. Those things are just as effective for somebody who's just started out than doing barbell back squats and, you know, barbell bench press. You don't need to do those crazy overwhelming exercises. So I think my first tip would be, have a program in place which is achievable for you and your confidence levels. Second of all, go, like you said earlier, at non-peak times. So a lot of the gyms, they'll actually have like how many people are in the gym on an app, or just ask the desk and literally just be like, oh, when's the quietest times? And obviously they'll be able to tell you. And my third one would be like, just don't think, do. Like, just like that for me is like the biggest kind of thing that I say to clients is, don't think about it, don't overthink it, don't waste your time, you know, getting upset and worried about it. Just go in and do it, because once you've done it a few times, you'll look back and be like, what was I even bothered about? Like for me, obviously now I'm like, what was I even bothered about? I respect the fact that I was nervous, but it just goes to show like you could be brand new and you know, not know what the hell you're doing, or you could be just as confident as you and me people still aren't going to stare at you either way, you know, you're
Yeah,
absolutely fine.
yeah. And even if they did stare, you're more um what's the word? I'm trying to think of a word, but I keep forgetting it. It's not like your self-worth, it's like your self-esteem as well. Like I think as well, gym confidence comes from, I think a lot of the time, just working on yourself in like other areas of your life as well. Obviously, if you're someone who's really insecure, which I think for me personally, when I first started going to the gym, I was really insecure, which is where I think the lack of confidence came in, because I was really insecure about myself. I didn't like myself. I thought I was fat. I thought I was really ugly. And that's why I didn't feel confident in the gym. But as
Mm,
you build your self confidence, and I think building self confidence comes with a lot of self discipline, actually, because I think, how can you be confident in yourself if you're like quote unquote a flop? Do you know what I mean? If you're
mm.
someone who's constantly making excuses and not actually doing anything, like if you're just someone who sits on the sofa all day, like not in like a bad way, but what do you have to be confident about? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know
What
exactly what you mean.
what do you have to be confident about yourself? And when you go to the gym, you are building self discipline. You are also doing something for you. Do you know what I mean? You're doing something that is only to better you. And
Mm,
I think that is a really great way to build self confidence. And that will correlate to other areas of your life. Like the amount of clients that have like signed up with me and said, I've asked my boss for a raise because I feel
yeah,
like I
yeah,
deserve it.
yeah.
Stuff like
Or
that.
like I've sacked this job, or I've broken up with my
Yeah.
boyfriend, or you know, I've finally got the confidence to do the uni course. And you're so right. Like once you start looking after your health and your fitness, or I just go into the gym and just not eating like a dickhead, you're
Mm,
gonna find that your whole life just becomes so much better, and you will gain confidence from that because you're in control of your life. You know,
yeah.
you're spending a majority of your week
Mm,
prioritizing yourself, and that's a very sort of freeing and self-building of confidence feeling, you know.
yeah, absolutely. And I think as well, like physical toughness comes with mental toughness as well. Do you know what I mean? If you're physically stronger, you're gonna feel better about yourself. Do you know what I mean? If your body is able to do more, then you're going to feel better about yourself. If you're able to do more, it's like, whoa, I can do this and I can do that. And it it will correlate to all other areas of your life as well. But like I think, and I always say to people where they're like, oh, I don't really like, can I just do it at home? I'm like, you can, but don't you
You
want to get to a
could.
place where you just can go to a gym? Do you know what I mean? It's kind of like when people are like, I can't have this food in the house because I'll eat it all. And it's like, well, why don't you, instead of avoiding having it in the house, why don't you build a positive
Practice having it
relationship?
in the
Yeah,
house.
yeah, why don't you go at it from a different approach and actually learn to control yourself around it? So I think exactly the same with the gym. If you're just trying to avoid it, you could lose a shit ton of weight without training. Do you know what I mean? But it's not about
Mm,
that. It's about all the
mm,
other physical and psychological benefits that training will give you. Um
mm,
and and all the tools it gives you as well, like being able to go to a gym and know what you're doing when you go on holiday. Do you know what I mean? Like, and just having that diverse ability as well will give you so much. And I remember, like, I used to love training, but me and my partner would go on like gym dates, and we'd go down to Brighton and we'd do like we'd go to another gym. And as soon as I got to a different gym, though, it was a completely other story. I was really confident in my gym, but as soon as I went to
mm,
another gym, I would have like a breakdown. I would freak out because
mm.
I was like, oh, I can't like do this exercise. And when I'd go down to gyms in Brighton, like I used to go to like, have you been to like underground gym at all?
No, I haven't actually.
It's one in Brighton, and it's like a bodybuilder kind of gym. And I would go there and I
Mm,
would see all these women that were really lean, and then I'd be like, oh, I don't like fit in here, sort of thing. Um, whereas now I'm absolutely fine. Like I could literally go to any gym. Like we've got the Kings in like Crawley near where I live, and I'm not a member there, but I'll happily go in there on my own and just get shit done. Everyone's so friendly, and it is such an important skill that will give you so much in return, like mentally and
Mm,
physically.
I agree. It's more than just kind of going into the gym and doing a leg press. It's the confidence that you can do something like that, and you can just kind of follow that into anything in your day-to-day life, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just going to top up a few tips for building gym confidence.
Yes.
So one I would suggest would be to actually like have a program to follow. So obviously if you are coaching, you will be provided with a program, but if you're not coaching and you're looking to start out in the gym, write yourself 2 to 3 workouts, depending on how many times you're hoping to go to the gym. Maybe start with just 2 sessions, 2 full body sessions, and upper, lower, whatever, and just write down some exercises. You could literally message, like, I've had people message before saying, how do I write like a workout? I've done videos on it. Do you know what I mean? It's not actually hard to write a workout. And I always say this to people, it's actually really hard to train wrong. Like there's no right or wrong answer really when it comes to training. There's certain things you kind of want to follow, like having bigger movements at the start, but it's
Mm,
actually quite hard to train wrong. So have
mm,
yourself a program that you will actually follow. um Oh, I had another one and it's gone. My other one would actually be about clothing, which I don't think a lot of people consider, but I've had it where I've worn like a sports bra that I don't actually like. The fit doesn't actually suit me. And I've gone to
mm,
the gym even like last month or a couple months ago, and I didn't feel confident. I was like, oh, I don't feel confident right now, even though I'm a really confident person in the gym, but because my sports bra wasn't fitting nicely, it really did affect me. So make sure your clothing is comfortable and treat yourself to some clothes that are nice. Do you know what I mean? If you're wearing nice clothes, whether that be a baggy top or a nice pair of leggings, like, do you know what I mean? You have something that you feel comfortable in. Where do
yeah.
you stand? I'm interested to know, where do you stand about people going to the gym with other people?
As in like a kind of training partner.
Yeah, like a friend, or if someone joins, say they join your coaching and they're like, yeah, I'm going to go to the gym and do my workouts with my friend. Where would you sort of stand with that?
I think that it can be beneficial, and I think that initially it's actually quite a nice idea because, it can help people's confidence. Going with somebody else, they don't feel like it's such a daunting prospect. But I don't know about you, but once my clients get into the training, they become so addicted to the training that actually having a training partner, especially if that person is less motivated, less focused, they actually are like, oh gee, they're doing my head in. Like I just want to
Yeah.
get my head down and do my training.
Mm,
So I think it can go one of two ways. I think that sometimes having a training partner can be really beneficial,
mm.
especially if they're on the same sort of wavelength as you. But a lot of the time, these people can start setting you back, like not turning up on time
Yeah.
or wanting to skip things. So I think it's trying to find the right training partner for you.
Yeah, absolutely. I completely agree, because if you have someone who is less motivated than you, so for example, you've paid for coaching, so initially you are probably more motivated than them because you've put money where your mouth is. Do you know what I mean? You've actually signed up
Mm,
to coaching. And I always say to people, it's great if you want to go with a friend, but don't rely on them, because if they turn around and they say, oh, I'm not going tonight, and you say, oh, well, I won't go then, that's when you've got a problem, because you're wasting your time as such. And do you know what I mean? Don't rely on someone. So having a gym partner is great if they benefit you, in terms of if they push you or if they do offer
yeah,
you that moral support. But if they are a
yeah.
bit of a flop and they're just like coming to do something on a Thursday night, then just say, I can't train with you. Do you know what I mean? Put yourself first. And I think the last like couple months I've really had to work on this with a lot of my clients. I think where like things are opening up again, people are just saying yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes to everyone, and then they end up denying themselves, and it's like you need to set healthy boundaries with people. And like I used to say to people, like, because I used to train with a couple of women when I first started going to the gym, and I would kind of write the programs for us, and then it got to a point where I was like, look, I can't train with you anymore because I'm here for like fucking 2.5 hours because you're far arsing around, so
Yeah,
I can't
that's the
train
other
with you.
thing. Like your sessions will just take longer if there's two of you.
Yeah, absolutely. So I definitely think there's benefits of having someone there. But again, you just don't want to rely on them. Do you know what I mean? You want to have the confidence to be able to do it by yourself and just get shit
Mm.
done, basically.
I think a lot of the time, like we all spend so much time talking to other people, being in the
Mhm.
house with other people, being at work with other people, that actually
Yeah.
it's quite nice to just switch off and just have it as you and nobody else while
Mhm.
you're training.
Yeah. I've got no shame. Like when I go to the gym, I'm like headphones in. The other day I was dancing to Michael Jackson, Pretty Young Thing.
I love
I
that.
was like loving it. I was like getting it so into it. But no, yeah, absolutely. But do you have any tips to leave this on, my dear, or anything you want to kind of add?
I feel like we've covered a lot, but I think that it's one of those things that once you do it, you feel so much better for doing it, and you have got to kind of, in a way, ignore any worries or any sort of doubts that you have about training and going into the gym and what's going to happen and blah, 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 because you need to mentally put your goal and the fact that you know you're going to feel better for doing it in front. So
Yeah,
just pushing yourself out your comfort zone, but doing it in a sensible way where you know what you're going in to do. You're wearing something that you want to wear, you know, you're wearing your headphones, and you go into a gym which the environment for you is comforting. I think that once you've done that and you've just kind of, there's no secret answer, you just got to get in and get it done. Yeah, you'll be flying.
yeah. And what's the worst that can happen, really? Do you know what I mean?
What
If you do something wrong, you do something wrong, you'll get better. Do you know what I mean? I hear people all the time worrying. They're like, oh, what if I do it wrong? And I'm like, girl,
no one
half the
cares.
lads training in the gym don't know what the fuck they're doing. Do you know what I mean? The amount
Oh,
of times I look at
honestly, the men
guys.
are worse than the girls. The men are worse than the girls.
Yeah, they are. I look at what they're doing. I'm like, right, that's wrong. That's wrong. That's wrong. Do you know what I mean? So, ladies, you have nothing to worry about. Like, you are probably going
Mm,
to go in there and have a better movement pattern than half the guys in there already. So,
mm,
I think, yeah, just what's the worst that can happen? You
mm.
could maybe do something wrong. The guy's probably not even gonna know. And do you know what? If you are like, ask someone, ask a PT, ask someone if they look like they know what they're doing, just ask them for help. And you might not feel confident enough to do that, which is fine. But there's the worst that can happen. You could fall over. That's, do you know what I mean?
Couple of stitches in your head, you'll be fine.
Couple of stitches in your head, you're fine. Live and learn, eh? But no, that
Yeah.
is brilliant, my dear. Well, I hope people listening to this have got some benefit from it. Obviously, there's so many other things you can do in terms of just gaining gym confidence, but I completely agree with Georgie where it's just get in there, get it done, and know that you will get better at it. It is a skill and it is worth learning.
Yeah, it's quite nice. It's something that you can work on,
Yeah,
Look
absolutely.
at it as a positive.
Yeah, brilliant. Awesome.
Oh, well,
Well,
thank you for having me on the podcast.
thank you, Georgie, and thank you everyone for listening. If you enjoyed this, don't forget to share on your socials and tag both me and Georgie.
Yes.